Giannis last night was so unstoppable. And to see him just shred all the critics, all the cynicism, the vitriol that was being thrown in his direction where people anticipated that, he was going to miss his free throws. If he had just made shots from the field, then that would be one thing. But to do it by hitting 17 of 19 free throws when the guy, just struggles to hit free throws so flagrantly so, that's the kind of stuff that seals the deal and makes you say, hey.
Before I make my point.
I can't put anything above it.
Question. You got on me in the very first segment because when asked if he is the best player in the world, I said Giannis can't be just dismissed from the conversation. Push come to shove, I put him third, but the title is disputed. Now, are you turning around and doing the same thing here? Or are you saying, yes, this is the best performance in a closeout game? Is it just in the conversation, or is it where do you rank it?
I said to you that I can't put anything above Jordan's 45.
Okay, so it's not
Kendrick
the best.
Perkins, did I not say that? Did I not say that, KP?
Best. Okay, so it's not the best. I agree it's not the best. It is not the best. I feel the same way about this as I feel about Giannis's status in the league. I don't put it as number one, but it's in the conversation. Let me tell you the ones that are better. You identified a couple. Magic Johnson, as a rookie, he was 19 when he entered the league that year, jumped at center and gave you 42, 15, and 7 in the finals. I can't put this above that. I just can't do it. Especially context matters. Everyone got hurt. Like, the Bucks were not going to be in the finals if the Brooklyn Nets weren't hurt. They were getting smoked. They would have lost in 3 if the Nets were healthy. They wouldn't even gotten to a 4th game. They were losing by 20-something points a game, and they didn't even have Kyrie and Harden. It was just one or the other of them. Come on. So context matters. You bring up Jordan's game, I don't have to go up. I don't have to go over that again. Let me give you the one that's actually number one. Number one is Clyde Frazier, and I didn't see it, Stephen A. Maybe you did. I wasn't born yet. Clyde Frazier in the 69-70 season, it was his 1970 finals, went up, because as you always say, Stephen A., context matters. It wasn't that the team he was playing was lucky to get there or the Knicks were lucky to get there. He went up against a team with Wilt, Jerry West, and Elgin Baylor, who was supposed to beat the Knicks. That's 3 still, people could argue, top 10 or 15 greatest players who ever lived on the same team. Clyde Frazier in a closeout, Game 7, not Game 6, against that team, not a Suns team that was also lucky that both LA teams got hurt, gave you 36, 19, and 7. That is the greatest closeout performance of all time. Giannis's is in that conversation with Jordan, Magic, and Clyde, but it's not number one.
Well, look, no disrespect to all the all-time greats because we have seen a lot of great performances and a lot of guys rise to the occasion. But when you look at what Giannis did last night, and when you talk about closing out the job and finishing your food, as he would say, he did just that. He didn't leave any rice, any corn, any turkey legs or oxtails on the plate. He finished the mission. And when I said, look how he did it, it's how he did it in great fashion, being down 0-2, winning 4 straight to win the championship. But last night in particular, when the game started, it was one person on that floor that looked like they was ready from the moment, from the start to the finish, and that was Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. He started with it on his mind, going, 4 for 6 from the field in the first quarter, attacking downhill, knocking down his free throws, something that he hasn't done really all playoff series long. He go up there and he shoot over 90% from the line, and then when you think about what he done offensively far as just imposing his will, play after play after play, the cardio, the stamina, the will to want to have to do it. Because when you look at a game 6 like this, the pressure is on the Milwaukee Bucks to close it out. You look at a game 6, it's a must-win situation, and he embraced that moment. And then when you talk about his defensive impact, 5 blocks, those were intimidating blocks. We kept saying, Stephen A., I saw you tweet out and say, don't throw Ayton the ball. He looked petrified, he looked terrified, or whatever the case may be. He did, because it was the presence of Giannis down there, embracing that center role. He walking, he's stepping into 3-pointers, knocking them down. And here's the knock that we all have had on Giannis. When it matters the most in those crucial moments in the fourth quarter, can he deliver? And last night, he did just that. Whether it was from the free throw line or getting to the basket or making the block shots that was really needed at the time, he did that in every aspect. And this is why I say it was the greatest closeout performance in NBA history and finals
Well, let's
history.
say something. Let's point out something, KP. I'm not going to let you get away with something here. I understand that Giannis could be intimidating. Giannis was a man on fire last night. Don't act like you don't know when certain cats, the moment itself is just too much for them. Now, we know good and damn well that Ayton bobbling the ball even when he was rebounding, looking like he had grease on his hands. I don't know what the hell it was. You know good and damn well that wasn't just about Giannis. That was about a closeout game in Milwaukee, and we had a young brother whose youth was exposed, and he was scared to death. That's number one.
Yeah, but
number two, I want to say this, though. When we look at Giannis, here's what I want everybody to appreciate. When we criticized Giannis in the past, it was because he didn't have the combination of a perimeter shot and free throw shooting ability. We've never accused him of being scared. No one has ever accused Giannis of being scared. We thought that he played bully ball, he pushed you downhill, he had momentum, and he knew how to finish at the basket. But if you kept him away from the basket like Kawhi Leonard did, it would be problematic for him. What makes it impressive last night is that, okay, you still might not have had a perimeter shot, but you was hitting a couple of them last night, even hit a three. A turnaround jumper in the lane, too. A fall away 15-foot shot, he hit that. Plus, he hit his free throws. So last night was his night, but the free throw shooting was really what sealed the deal because you had to be brave in order to put yourself in that position because you know how you struggle from the free throw line, and he didn't care. And that's where he has to be applauded for his greatness last night because he faced adversity and said, I don't give a damn, here I come.